Mythologies, folktales, and origin stories explain the world. They are essential forms of storytelling that reveal how we got here and keep us connected to human nature, culture, and histories. Drawing from classic myths as well as her own life, storytelling is the foundation of Mare Blocker's work. She began making artist books in 1979 and established M. Kimberly Press in 1984. In the decades since, Blocker has studied the craft of storytelling and created numerous artist books that, like many myths and folktales, use the personal to connect us to the universal. To complement her solo exhibition at the Bainbridge Island Museum of Art, let's take a closer look at a few books from Mare Blocker's prolific body of work. The Accordion Queen is one of Blocker's many books that unite her playful approach to three-dimensional structure with narrative storytelling. In this tale, we visit a small town set alongside a lake with magical singing fish. During the dark part of the year, the fish's songs turn sorrowful, blanketing the townfolk with melancholy, fights, and generally bad things. When the Accordion Queen arrives in the maladjusted town, she and her people are also affected by the fish's mournful songs. To draw the fish into sweeter tempers, she takes up her accordion and advances upon them with joyful music. Blocker, who regularly puts herself into her books, told me that the Accordion Queen is based on herself. Blocker plays the accordion, and she created this fictional story by blending events from her life and other stories she'd heard. The playfulness in Blocker's handwriting and collaged illustrations also appears in the structure. This book about an accordion queen is made in an accordion fold and bound into a real accordion instrument. The whimsical touches that Blocker extends across these layers of story, image, and form are downright delightful. The Accordion Queen prevails. She leads the fish back to happier songs and consequently brings love, singing, and dancing back to the townspeople. The final page of the book describes how the Accordion Queen's restoration of the town's joy was the catalyst for the annual midwinter festival of feasting and accordions. I love the last emphasized words, holding space at the end of this exuberant page. Enchanted yet again. Even though the fictional tale is drawn from her own life, I can see broader connections about how dark times come in cycles, and music can raise our spirits, especially when enjoyed together. The Accordion Queen takes the form and timelessness of the most enduring myths and folktales. The stories collected in Blood on Blood also come from Blocker's life. However, these directly depict memories of her childhood and her immediate and extended family. The first story recounts when Blocker was jumping on the bed. She knocked into her brother's head so hard that he bit through part of his tongue. Opting not to tell their mother right away, Blocker writes, "She discovered it later at lunch when she fed Mark some tomato soup and his tongue fell out of his head." Blocker's title, "Did They Use a Sewing Machine?" lends additional dark humor to the incident. Many of the stories recall childhood antics and accidents, using Blocker's characteristic dry humor. Others relate odd or quirky details of family members, like this story of her Uncle Bob, who plucked leaves from a fake tree at his work and glued them onto his own dead tree at home. The layout of the pages, each showing an image tipped in with photo corners, recalls older styles of very formal photo albums and portraits. In contrast to the formality of the presentation, the stories and Blocker prints are fantastical, funny, and sometimes quite disturbing. Blocker never over-explains or coddles the reader with any more than the fewest words needed to describe each scene. When I asked her about Blood on Blood, she explained that her father's love of Johnny Cash trickled down to her. Like the stories in this book, Cash's songs often address a darkness in life through descriptive storytelling. Blocker told me, Cash once said that the reason the Carter family was so good was that the best music was made with layers of family voices, or blood on blood. Blocker's stories are layered together in this family album, seen through the lens of one member. These are the stories that take on larger, mythical dimensions, the ones that get told and retold, remembered together and passed down to the next generation. Created 16 years after Blood on Blood, Blocker's book Fancy also draws from people in her life. Her voice has shifted, though, as this book grew out of a period when several friends and family members passed away in close succession. Fancy opens with an excerpt from the end of Walt Whitman's poem, O Me, O Life. His words offer a gentle answer for our brief lives and the interconnectedness of people. Blocker wrote all the other texts and poems in Fancy. They spread across the book, set against images made with paper collage and linoleum prints. Blocker initially set out to make something like a commonplace book. People have kept handwritten commonplace books for hundreds of years to collect various things like quotes, poems, proverbs, recipes, and other things to be remembered. While developing this project, many people close to Blocker died, and the book changed direction. Grief became the center point from which she delves into existence, our interconnectedness, and how we move through a finite life. Her father, with whom she had been actively engaged as a caregiver and advocate while he had bone marrow cancer, was one of the people she lost during this time. The book covers in the edition are made with his shirts. I asked Blocker about the title Fancy, and she explained that it's an archaic form of the word fantasy. She said to me, "It's a quest for the mind to process and fulfill the improbable, in this case the task of keeping a dead loved one alive." Like a commonplace book, Fancy is a collection to aid memory. Blocker assembled people, verses, and meaningful images to remember and hold on to those she lost. In addition to these discrete elements, the repetition of answer and the promise of spring are used as refrains in a singular poem stretched out across the entire book. When we come to these pages, there is a strong tonal shift away from the sadness of loss and the celebrations of love and life that have filled the book up to now. Blocker shoves back against the pain, expressing the anger within her grief. The narrative storytelling of earlier books, like Blood on Blood, has given way to a different kind of storytelling. She no longer cloaks darkness with satire or humor. Every word and image in Fancy is born from Blocker's experiences, but she radically opens herself to us and embraces the reader. She collapses the space between her specific and our universal. I like that this text simultaneously appears to be a poem and a colophon. This book is made of more than ink on paper. Blocker's creative material and wordplay that we saw early in The Accordion Queen has matured and developed into a deeper recognition of what went into making this book. Blocker said to me, "I poured everything, all my grief, all my thankfulness, everything into that book. I made it because they live in my heart, and the way we keep people we love alive is by telling stories about them and stories about ourselves."